So good morning or good night depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to another album review of The Shield Dude on a Couch. I'm your host Hector, and tonight we're gonna talk about the new Nothing More album called Carnal. So, Carnal, is it that deep or is it just another rock album? We're going to find out right now. So yeah, Nothing More is a band from Texas and they've been around for a while now, but in 2009 they took Johnny Hawkins and they moved them from being a drummer to being the actual frontman and singer from this band. And that is where the band started to get more momentum. In 2014, they had an album that was really huge, and I have on vinyl. But it was 2017's The Stories We Tell Ourselves that really got me hooked with this band. That was actually my album of the year for 2017. And what they did with that album, they managed to capture like some emotion with some rawness, and they also used like some interludes with Alan Watts, which gave the album like this type of like concept, and it was such a great album. And after that, they had an album a few years ago that I listened to but didn't pay that much attention to, and now they're coming back with Carnal, and again it has 15 tracks, but out of those 15 tracks, 10 are actual tracks and the other 5 are interludes that use Alan Watts again. So they're trying to be deep, this band really focuses on what Johnny Hawkins goes through. So a lot of songs are very personal, and he's been through some stuff in the last few years, including divorce, some court cases. So apparently he blends that all in and puts it in the music of Nothing More. So this album has more guest vocalists. That is something that The Stories We Tell Ourselves didn't have. And sometimes when I see guest vocalists, I think two things. They can be great, or they're overcompensating maybe because the material is not that great. So with this album, I can say that for me, this album has some great songs on it, but also has a little bit of filler, in my opinion. So the album, when it, some of the tracks that have some guest vocalists, one is House of Sand, which features Eric Bandelberg, I'm sorry I butchered that, from I Prevail, which is a band that I know a few songs from, but I'm not a huge fan. And the problem with that song to me is that it sounds too metalcore generic. So to me, that song is like, oh my god, it just sounds like all those other bands. And something that I liked about Nothing More is that they had like a distinctive way of sound, and I think Johnny Hawkins is a great vocalist. So on that one, they just sounded like run-of-the-mill metalcore. I've heard this shit many times before, so that track was just okay. But then it has a great track with the song If It Doesn't Hurt, and that's like a 3-minute song, and it's all about saying that if loving someone doesn't hurt, then it wasn't real, you don't feel a thing. It has a great chorus to it. Nothing More really shines when they use some electronics in the undertones on the songs. And this song is really catchy and earwormy, so I really enjoyed that one. Then you have a song that features David Draiman from Disturbed with Angel Song, and that one was okay. I thought that David Draiman's part, it was a little bit underused, and also the song is saying some parts about like dropping like some bombs or something, and David Draiman the last few weeks putting his name on bombs. Yeah, maybe not the best timing for this song. So the song was okay. So far, the songs that had the guest vocalists for me are the weakest. Then you have Free Fall, which I thought that one was more of a power ballad, but I really love it when it's like, I need a free fall. It's really catchy and earwormy, so I really enjoyed that track. Then you have a track like Blame It on the Drugs, which again, it has some pop sensibilities to it, but it's very catchy as well, but also has that like roughness to it, so I thought it was great as well. Then my favorite song on the album is Existential Dread. I love that track. I think that track is great in everything. I think the tone, the way that Johnny delivers the chorus, and also like the subject matter of like, like life is so hard sometimes that you just living gives you existential dread. And after that, the album takes a dip for me. The songs Down the River is probably one of the weakest songs on the record, and it just sounds like an okay rock song. It's just meant to be played in the rock radio. But I just thought that analogy of the river has been done before by them, because I think in the stories we tell ourselves, they did have a passage about a river, but they do it better. So it felt like they were retreading stuff that they have already done before, but less good. Give It Time, it was okay. I think I like Freefall better, but again, it wasn't as great as some of the tracks that came before it. And then you have Stuck, which I like that track, except the rapping by Sinister, which is apparently a rapper from Atlanta, and he has like a rap verse here that is weak as fuck, in my opinion. I don't know, I'm not a huge rapper, but I felt like the song didn't need it. Like if they would have taken away Sinister from the track would have been fine, because the part where the song is, it's a harder metal, it's more like a harder song. It's one of the hardest songs on the record, and I just think that having Sinister there just to put some rap on it was just like, why? It didn't need that extra frosting on the cake. Like you could take him away and the song would have just been fine. And the record ends with Run For Your Life, which is a decent album closer. The song is like 4.5 minutes, but it really ends like before 4, and then it has like a long outro electronic that goes into the last outro sound, which I think is like, why drag the ending out? It just pushes the album down for me. So my final opinions for this is like, yeah, the 5 interludes with Alan Watts, I think they're just there to make this album sound deeper than it is. Like it's not that deep, Nothing More is a cool rock band. Sometimes they have deeper songs, but I just think on this album it's more of the same a little bit. And I would have taken away those parts and the album would have been great. Or instead of having like 5 interludes, just write more fucking songs. Like write 2 more songs and that's it. But the interludes I think they're just there to fill up space. So I would get rid of them. I think the tracks that I really love, like Existential Dread, Blame It on the Drugs, If It Doesn't Hurt, and Freefall, are great. But then the other tracks are so, and I would just say that the weakest is Down the River. But this is not an album that I would say is their best. I would say more, it's an album that I wouldn't say it's a bad album, but I would just say that this is an average record for me. I don't think the replay value is that high for me. I just think I would pick a few tracks and put it on a playlist. But still, I think Nothing More is a great rock band, and I think they're popular for a reason, and they could be bigger. But I would like for them, for the next one, to do something like they did with the stories we tell ourselves, where they can have the rough with the, like that ballad, Just Say When, that was a great ballad. And I think they should do more ballads because it's a strong for the band. And always like Johnny Hawkins, he should be the forefront because he's a very unique vocalist. And having so many guest vocalists here that really don't bring anything to the song is not needed for me. So I would just say a little bit of trimming next time, and maybe a little bit more focus. And please, okay, we get it, you love Alan Watts, but you don't need to quote him on every fucking album that you put out. Like, it's already been done. Move on. So what do you think of Carnal by Nothing More? Comment. What are your favorite tracks on this record? I would want to know. And if you like the videos that I'm putting out, do not forget to subscribe and do not forget to give me a like. That helps me with the YouTube algorithm to get to more people like yourselves. So until next time, people, this is Hector, the Shield Dude on a Couch, and I'll see you all right here on the couch. Thank you and goodbye.